I'm going to share with you my brutally honest advice that took me from feeling not confident and like I didn't belong in business or in leadership as a woman to feeling completely confident and being a high-performing entrepreneur. I have been overlooked and underestimated for years, but today I'm the co-founder and president of a $100 million company, and I've done this all by the age of 30. So here are my 6 truths that I genuinely believe will help you succeed as a badass woman in business or any professional setting. The first essential piece of advice is learning how to negotiate. Negotiation is not about who's yelling the loudest. It is about knowing your angle and then owning your power. When I was first starting in my career, I was so nervous whenever there would be a conference room meeting and we would have to introduce ourselves. It's like, I don't have the credentials to be in here. I'm uncomfortable. It's going to come to me. I'm going to say something silly. It's stupid. And so one particular day, we were going around the table and I realized that there was a bunch of people who were older than me, who were more experienced than me, and they were all men. And when it was getting to me, I realized instead of fretting about this and worrying about this, this is actually my angle. What makes me different and unique in this room is the fact that I'm a female, I'm in a younger demographic, and I can actually use this as a reason for why my opinion and why my perspective in this room is important. So instead of just being some small little woman in this room, I was able to come to the table to say, this is what I'm great at, this is who I am. It doesn't matter that I'm younger. It's actually a great thing that I'm younger because I have a perspective with the customer, with the audience that we're trying to go after that is invaluable because all of you are dudes. And as a woman with natural empathy, you can understand your customer's problems better and connect with the customer in a completely different way. It's a great thing, especially when you understand what you and your organization brings to the table in a negotiation. It is your angle. But don't use this angle to think of, oh, I have to be soft, and that means I can't close and press into what I want in a sales process. The reason that somebody should do business with you is because you are a woman. It is a fantastic thing, and you can use it instead of thinking that it's something that actually holds you back. The second essential piece of advice is all about who you surround yourself with. You see, we've all heard the saying, your network is your net worth. However, who are you networking with? If you are not networking with the right people and you are networking with people who are in the exact same position that you're in, sure, they might be great acquaintances, but they're not actually going to help you move things forward because they're struggling with the exact same things that you are. So is it bullshit when someone says your network is your net worth? It is if you're networking with the wrong people. I find that when women lose their confidence, it's because they are around other people who have a lack of confidence. When you are around people who are confident in themselves and who believe in themselves, you actually start to understand that you can believe in yourself. And one of the biggest mistakes I see women make is they join these networking events. They go, they try to meet other people. Well, here's the challenge. You are likely networking with other people who might be at the same place that you are. Those are not the people you want to network with in order to gain confidence. You want to network with people who are doing bigger things. You need to learn how to ask really great questions. One of the best questions that you can ask, especially in business, is how big is your business? When somebody tells you they're an entrepreneur, that's super awesome. You should acknowledge them. But it's very different to be talking to an entrepreneur who's doing $250,000 in annual revenue versus an entrepreneur who's doing $250 million of annual revenue. So if you're not qualifying who your network is, you could end up creating a network of people who are just going to keep you stuck in the same level of confidence that you have today. I think about this in terms of relationship advice as well. I will never forget when I had somebody give me their full opinion on how to plan the wedding, how to make it perfect, how to just have the best day and planning process ever. And then I realized 45 minutes in that this person is now divorced. I was like, wait a second. Is the point the marriage or is the point the wedding? So I literally took everything this person said to do and I did the opposite of that because the goal was to plan the marriage, not to plan the wedding. How you create relationships with people who can positively impact your life, you have to really look at their results. And if the results that they've achieved are not the results that you want for your life, do not take their advice and go find people who do have those results and spend time listening to them. Next, you have to master your routine, which starts with being productive. As women, we try to get the value out of all the things and we try to honestly do all the things, but productivity is not about doing more. It's about truly accomplishing what matters. Fastest way for you to become more productive is to identify what you need to stop doing. What you say no to is just as important as what you say yes to. And I find that as a woman, it is so difficult sometimes telling people no. And I used to really struggle with this. If a friend wanted to go out for dinner, I'd say yes. If a family member wanted to do some family activity, I'd be like, sure. But instead, today I define, what do I need to produce? What is actually driving my career forward? And that is truly what makes me productive today. Just last weekend, I was supposed to go to a football game. We have field side tickets to all of the games at the Cardinals Stadium. And I realized that I have annual planning to get done. I have strategy plans that I need to get done. I had approvals that I needed to do. I had content that I needed to review. And so I just said, no, I'm not going to go to this game. I get that we have clients there. I get that I even had a couple family members there. It would have been a great thing for me to be there, to be seen, to meet people, but that was not the most important thing. My husband was completely understanding because he understands that my ability to feel good about myself and to achieve my goals is directly tied to my ability to produce the things that are important to me. I went to bed that night at 9:30 feeling so productive because I did what needed to be done. So by saying no, you're able to do more and feel better about yourself. I would not have felt good about myself if I went to that game. It's just a matter of you deciding over and over and over again to prioritize the most important things which actually create your productivity. The fourth piece of advice, and this is controversial, is to ignore this idea of work-life balance. Work-life balance is great to have if your goal is balance, but not if your goal is to be rich and successful. Honestly, work-life balance is just another way to tell women that we can't have it all. And I refuse to accept this idea that women can't have it all. You can have the job you want, you can have the family that you want, you can have the career, you can have any of these things. However, if you want certain things, there are trade-offs. And if you want to have financial success, you're going to have to work your ass off. For me, I'm not targeting balance at the end of my life. I don't think that when I'm 85 years old in a hospital bed somewhere, I'm gonna think, man, I'm really glad that I lived a balanced life. No, what I'm gonna think is, I'm really glad that I became the person that I was capable of becoming in pursuit of what is possible for Natalie, the impact that Natalie can create, the people that she can meet and inspire and create belief in and help be successful. Like, those are the things I'm gonna be really freaking proud of when I'm 85. The world needs people who are capable of doing great things. So this idea of wanting balance and wanting to have something that is just this elusive target, but that really isn't the goal of our lives, seems silly. And one of the things that I struggle with, I love the holidays. I am just the biggest fan of sitting at home with my little Santa cup, watching a Christmas movie by the fire with my Christmas tree. But as soon as I start to feel the temptation to spend time doing that, I refocus and I, as quickly as possible, get out of the house. Now, this might not be your jam because you want to be able to enjoy all of those holiday feels. But what I recognize is I'm useless to everybody when I just indulge in that way. I'm not making an impact on my future. I'm not making an impact on the people that depend on me. I have to go produce something because nothing comes of me just being happy and excited to drink hot cocoa, as nice as it sounds. So yes, you do have to make trade-offs. What is important to you? Is success important to you? If it is, and I believe it should be, and you wouldn't be watching this video if it wasn't, then you have to actually say, I'm not going to do these things because it's okay that I don't need to have this balance in my life. And one of my biggest gripes is that the girl boss era has been demonized because hard work gets you what you want. On the other side of hard work is every single goal that you could possibly imagine that doesn't happen through you just phoning it in and enjoying yourself and having a balanced life, especially not in your 20s, especially not in your 30s. Put the freaking work in now to reap those rewards, to have respect from other people. There is nothing wrong with wanting more, with wanting it all, with wanting financial security. In fact, I think it is horrendous how in this country, in this world today, we actually demonize people who want to be able to have financial stability for their families. The fact that people choose to live paycheck to paycheck or to not get the skills that are required to make more money is just selfish. And so I don't want to be selfish. I want to actually produce and contribute and be a positive influence on society. Ultimately, the choice is yours. And you just have to ask yourself, what do I really want? Number 5 is to replace imposter syndrome with expertise. You can easily overcome imposter syndrome by learning more. When I was 22 years old, I had the most exciting idea. I was driving across the bridge from Vancouver, Washington to Portland, Oregon, and I thought, what would it be like to have a podcast and a blog where I helped women understand how to be confident and how to create leaders. And I was going to call this blog Today's Workwoman. At the time, my last name was Workman, so I thought, oh, that's kind of like a kitschy little thing, Today's Workwoman. And I got so excited just visualizing and dreaming about this blog and this podcast I was going to create until it slapped me in the face that nobody would listen to me. Well, at 22, I hadn't created financial success. I didn't have confidence at that point. I just shut the door on it and instantly felt imposter syndrome. But instead of completely shutting the door, I just started chipping away at the things that I needed to do in order to actually create a podcast one day. It's called Today's Workwoman. What's ridiculous is I actually started a podcast called Workwoman and then changed the podcast because I was like, this is too generic. It actually needs to be called Building Billions because that is what I'm doing. And this is the impact that I want to create. I want to help people generate billions of dollars in the economy to be able to stimulate job growth, to be able to stimulate economic spend, gross domestic product. Like, I want to impact the world, not just women, but that required me adding skills to myself. And at first I did feel like an imposter because I was an imposter, but that's okay. It's not a bad thing. I hadn't done what I needed to do. So when you start to have that feeling of, oh, I'm just doubting myself and I'm not certain and I'm not sure, you just pivot that to, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to learn in order to get to where I'm trying to go? So that you can have the blog or the Instagram channel or the TikTok channel or the YouTube channel that you want to create because you actually have something valuable to share with people. Try not to sit in this feeling of being an imposter too long because when you sit in it, you could potentially get stuck in it. Let's say you want to launch a YouTube channel. You should perfectly mock up what your YouTube channel is going to look like. What would potential thumbnail titles be? What would the photo look like? What does the banner look like in this mocked up YouTube channel of yours? And pay somebody to create this for you so that it starts to become real and you move out of this feeling of being an imposter and into the realm of I'm creating this. There's just a gap between where I am today and where I'm trying to go. When I had this idea to create Today's Workwoman, I hired a graphic designer. I paid the graphic designer $500 to create this mock-up. What a beautiful mock-up it is of the logo and the colors. And now I think how cringy and ridiculous this looks. But it was the starting point of what you're seeing today. If I wouldn't have gone and had her do all this work, I wouldn't have had this picture of what I was about to create. This brings us to the sixth piece of advice, which is to be successful as a woman in business. You have to have the confidence today that you would have in 10 years from today. One of the fastest ways to get this confidence is to walk that very fine line between being a bitch, being super decisive, and also being collaborative. What I find is women in leadership often take way too much feedback and they listen to what everybody else wants in order to be collaborative. And to be honest with you, they take this too far. They lose sight of the vision that they have, of the direction that they want to go. Think back to me wanting to launch Today's Workwoman. If I was being super collaborative, it could just get pulled in this different direction when I didn't stay true to what I was trying to create. My husband weighed in on what he thought it should be. My mom weighed in on what she thought it should be. My dad and my friends, they all had these ideas. And so eventually I was just like, nope, everybody out. This is what I want to create. And I just started taking action to get there. So yes, feedback can be valuable if you have something specific to learn and you are trying to seek that information out. But also make sure that you have a confident position in what you are trying to do. I would never get feedback ahead of time unless that person is so supportive and like the you go Glen Coco in Mean Girls. If that's the type of person you're getting feedback from, fantastic. But if it's somebody who you are actually looking for potentially approval from, don't ask for that feedback because you will get criticism. And when you are actually creating something, you don't want criticism for people who are just trying to nitpick you. It will decrease your confidence. But if you already have something established, what I would recommend that you do is not actually get feedback outside of looking at specific stats inside your organization. So if your stats are going up, meaning you're making more money, you're making a greater impact, you can actually measure the amount of clients and their success that they're having through working with you. You are already creating something that is successful. You should trust yourself. Now, if something isn't going well and you've launched something and it's not working and you're not going in the direction that you want to be going, this is not when you're asking for collaboration. You're not just having a group brainstorm. You're looking to specific people who have specific experience, or you've asked them to do very intentional research to solve a problem. It is rare, if seldom, if never, that a great idea comes from just group brainstorming on some random set of problems. And to be honest with you, that's how I make decisions about my own brand. I have team members who come in and give me all sorts of opinions about what I should do, what I shouldn't do, and don't even get me started on all the people inside my comments who give me all sorts of feedback points about my long nails and my blonde hair and the way that I look and what I do to my face and the amount of makeup. I think it's fantastic that people have an opinion. That's awesome. You're entitled to your opinion. Do I have to take your opinion and do anything different or feel the weight of that? Absolutely not. Now, I do bring my team in to collaborate on things where I want their opinion. It might be a new project. It might be a new area that I'm wanting to build upon, that I'm wanting to create on, that I'm going to ask for that level of collaboration. But it's not for something where I already have something specific that I'm driving to, because I can't get confused. The more clear you are of what you are building and what you are creating, and the more you stick to that, the more confident you are going to become. So those are the 6 pieces of brutally honest advice that I would give any woman who wants to succeed in business. And if you want my full blueprint on how to go from 0 to becoming a millionaire, check out this video here.